Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. Win. Oh.
On the wings of my dreams. That's what it is.
I never remember this set in Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah. I probably didn't even know that as a kid.
It probably doesn't fucking matter at all.
You're right.
Except for the intro. This was a very 80s. I mean, I associate with the 80s. I mean, I know that's
80s, early 90s.
Yeah. But like the intro to Mork and Mindy, because it's set in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
Is this them doing shit around Boulder?
Yeah, I really wish that they wouldn't set things. I really enjoy when places are set in an undisclosed location, like you're not sure, and like you have to guess, and people will be like kind of like Bob's Burgers. Like there's an idea, like you know where it is roughly, but it's not. But it's never like. I mean, obviously it's a cartoon.
Or The Simpsons.
What? No.
It's set in Springfield.
Yeah.
Which is kind of genius because
because every fucking country has a Springfield.
Every country has a Springfield. Every state has a city.
Yeah, so
Goddamn.
Yeah, right? Heavenly Creatures.
Did not know it was based on any real events.
Yeah, that's why I was reading the Wikipedia about all the stuff that happened, and I was like, I've wanted you to watch it, and I was like, oh, we should watch it for the pod, and then I was reading about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to tell Keith about any of this because he's not gonna really understand until he sees the movie, and I was like, okay, we have to do this for Pride because we have to talk about this. I'm just gonna straight up read the fucking Wikipedia about it. It's insane. I didn't realize half of this stuff. I mean, even though it like says it at the end, like I didn't. It ends so fucking crazy too. Like
the film.
Like it just ends with like them screaming for each other. And then Melanie Lynskey.
Yeah, the last image is her face covered in blood.
Yeah, just screaming, you know? You're like, whoa. It's the Parker Hume murder case. The Parker Hume murder case was the murder of Honora, I don't know how to say it, Honora or whatever, Reaper in Christchurch, New Zealand on the 22nd of June, 1954. The perpetrators were Reaper's teenage daughter, Pauline Parker, and her friend, Juliet Hume. Parker was 16 at the time, while Hume was 15. Pauline Yvonne Parker, also known as Pauline Reaper, was born on the 26th of May, 1938. She met Juliet Hume when they were both in their early teens. Parker came from a working class background. Her parents were part-time house staff and gardeners employed at the University of Canterbury. Her father, Herbert Reaper, and her mother, Honora Parker, were living together but were not actually married. This was not public knowledge and was only revealed at the trial. Mm-hmm. Juliet Hulme was born in London and emigrated to New Zealand in 1948 with her parents. She was the daughter of Henry Hulme, a physicist who became the rector of University of Canterbury. The university provided their accommodation, and their family lived at Ilham Homestead. Both Hulme and Parker attended Christchurch Girls' High School. The girls had both suffered illnesses as children. Parker, osteomyelitis, and Hulme, tuberculosis, which formed the basis of an initial connection. According to Parker's accounts, she and Hulme both romanticized the idea of being sick. As their friendship developed, Parker and Hulme formed an elaborate fantasy life together. They wrote plays, books, and stories centered in this world. The girls had an intense friendship, which caused concern in Parker's parents that they were engaged in a sexual relationship. Homosexuality at the time was considered a mental illness at the time. Come on. The Hulmes also had concerns, but both families continued to allow the girls to see one another, and Parker was accepted at the Hulme home in Ilham for overnights and vacations. Hulme became withdrawn and ill when Parker would leave her home without her. During their relationship, the girls invented their own personal religion with their own ideas on morality. They rejected Christianity and worshiped their own saints, envisioning a parallel dimension called the Fourth World, essentially their version of heaven. The Fourth World was a place that they felt they were already able to enter occasionally during moments of spiritual enlightenment. By Parker's accounts, they had achieved this spiritual enlightenment because of their friendship. Parker was not invited to go to Ilham over the summer holidays in 1953, and she had been in previous years. In 1954, Hulme's parents separated. Problems with faculty and the board forced Hulme's father to resign from a position as rector of the university, and her mother was involved in an extramarital affair. Hulme's family, Bill. Hulme's family planned to return to England, but it was decided that Hulme herself would be sent to live with relatives in South Africa, ostensibly for her health. Both girls were heartbroken over their upcoming separation and decided that Parker should go to South Africa as well. They thought the Hulmes would agree to this plan. Parker was certain her mother would not allow her to go with Hulme. The girls formed a plan to murder Parker's mother in order to remove their perceived obstacle in them remaining together. Their long-term plan was to go to South Africa and then head to Hollywood or New York City, where they believed they would publish their writing and work in film. And yeah, like, okay, did you read the trivia that said that like the actual murder was
filmed?
Was filmed?
Oh, no, go on.
The murder was different than they showed it in the movie.
Oh.
Like when they killed her mom, they show like the first like 8 blows or something like that, but she was struck in the head like 43 times.
Oh, Jesus. No, I didn't see that.
And she was face up. They found her body face up, and they said that she'd been held down like at the neck while she was like
bludgeoned.
Yeah. And they were like, it was vastly more violent. And like, I don't know, like, I'm not saying please don't.
I mean, I said that I read that they, then they ran back to the tea shop and said she had fell.
Yeah.
But like, of course, none of the evidence
right
was consistent.
Like, it's crazy. She fell and it's just sprayed us with blood.
Yeah. And her skull is bashed all the way in. And also, they found the brick like not far away. Like just in the woods.
Yeah.
Like they had just thrown it from where they were standing.
I mean, I want to be clear that I'm not condoning murder, right? I'm not like saying like it's chill, like it's fine, like it's cool to kill your mom or whatever, really violently. People. But I think it's like really unfortunate that like
it's a really sad story.
Yeah.
All around.
And like, okay, so they were convicted of murder. Did you read the part where Peter Jackson like said it was basically like because they pled
probably
insanity.
A blessing that they didn't.
Yeah, they
their
pled
insanity plea didn't work because they would have been lobotomized.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, that's because that's what they did for it. I was like, oh my god. One of them, like, what's sad to me is they both exited. Like, they both so they were convicted of murder. but they were too young to get the death penalty, so they served a few years. I don't know exactly how long. I don't remember, like 10 or
I
something.
think 5.
Oh, 5? Okay. Yeah. Well,
I
I don't know.
Wikipedia says.
Yeah, something like that. It's like whatever. And they, like, basically a condition of their release was that they were never allowed to, like, see each other ever again.
Yeah, that seems to be there's some dispute about that.
Really?
Yeah, because according to the Wikipedia, go on and all. I mean, regardless, they never did. Presumably, never saw each other again.
Yeah. That was disputed. I thought it was so basically, after they were released, Pauline, like, both of their names were changed. Like, both of their names were changed, I guess, to protect them.
Well,
and
the language used in the Wikipedia article is that Parker was given a new identity.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know if that was like a condition of the court. I don't know how, because it's like a different country. So, but anyway, they were, but they both, like, Juliet became Anne Perry, who's like a novelist, and Pauline became someone else. I don't remember what her name is. And she...
Wait, here it is.
Okay.
Some sources say they were released on condition that they never contact each other again, but Sam Barnett, then Secretary for Justice, I don't know when, I guess up when they were released,
Yeah.
told journalists there was no such condition. Hillary Nathan.
Hillary Nathan.
She moved to England as well.
And she basically, like, worked with disabled kids and became a devout Catholic.
Yeah.
And died.
And Perry became a Seventh-day Adventist.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yep. That's what I was saying. Like, they both became, like, very extremely religious. And they're like, oh, we were never gay together. That never happened. But I'm like, I can't imagine whether or not it happened. I mean, so basically, in the movie Heavenly Creatures, all of the dialogue said from Pauline's perspective, like the diary entries, those are actual real
Taken from the
diary entries. Like, none of that was like, as far as I know, none of it was rewritten or changed at all. So it's like directly
from. How he had access to them.
Because they're published. Like, it's such a wide case. Like, you know, it's.
I guess they were evidence in the case. Huh?
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, literally. She's like, I'm going to kill my mom.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what they said. Like.
Right. Once they
like,
searched
literally
their
a
house
couple hours after.
Yeah.
A couple hours after they found the mom's body, they went looking and found her diaries, and they were like, "So here's the thing." But like,
well, and the way it's framed, maybe this is what you're leading up to. I'm sorry if I don't mean to.
Great.
The way it's framed in the film is that they imagined how all their different saints would make love.
Right.
And they acted that out.
Right. Like, it says that, like, her diary entries heavily imply that sex happened between them. But as far as I know, like, Pauline's diaries, like, it seems like there's, like, I mean, it doesn't directly say this, but it's like Juliet's account was like, how can two women have sex? That couldn't happen. And Pauline's diary are like seemed. So I don't know if it's a thing where like Juliet never admitted to it, because like Anne Perry, Juliet is Anne Perry, and Anne Perry says nothing ever happened. So I don't know. Right, you don't know if anything actually happened between them. And honestly, even if it didn't, it doesn't mean that there wasn't some kind. Like, they were literally obsessed with each other, and they couldn't they were sick when they were apart and shit like that. Like, that's not. I wouldn't call that, hetero. Like, doesn't necessarily have to be sexual.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I mean, it was clearly
doesn't-
obsessive, and you can
Right.
argue whether it was healthy or not. I mean, like,
Yeah.
point is, it ended up in a murder, so probably not that healthy.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like also like thinking about it in terms of like it's such a fucked situation because it wasn't
Right.
just that Juliet was like a person for Pauline to like be with or be around. It's like her family had money and status.
There's
and
a real
she,
class
right.
component,
And
yeah.
she was like, I can imagine feeling like so much better, having amenities, being taken care of, not having to think about these things, and then be like, and then your family's like, no, but you belong with us with the pores. I can
Yeah.
imagine being like it compounding the issue greatly because it's
Absolutely.
not just about like, you enjoy being with this person, but you're also taken care of vastly better when you're around them.
Right.
So it's going to
Well,
compound
and
the issue either feelings wise or anything. Like it's not just a question of like, do they love each other? It's like, okay, but like her life is literally better.
Right, and I imagine you can relate to this. I certainly do. Of like, it seems like Pauline wasn't probably terribly worldly.
Yeah,
She
right.
probably didn't have much opportunity to be.
Right.
But she had some exposure to some
Right.
pop culture, right?
Right.
She's probably seen. I don't know. She probably knew about films, even if she had never seen one before
Right.
she met Juliet. And then you meet someone who's actually has lived other places,
Right.
right?
Right.
And has means.
Yeah.
So it's not just you can have your own fantasy world, and you meet someone who has, from your perception, has some access to
Yeah.
the things you fantasize about.
Right. Yeah.
So you're like, fuck yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it makes it feel like your fantasies they
Right.
feel less fantastical.
Right.
They
Right.
feel more
Right.
accessible. And of course, you're going to chase that.
Right. And Juliet is like, from her perspective, like her parents like often abandoned her. So
Yeah,
having
right.
someone who's like, I care about you and I want to be around you and I choose to be around you.
Right.
Like, because for her, it wasn't just about like, she had rich parents, but they didn't care. Like, they weren't like,
Correct.
they
Right.
just abandoned her a lot of the time. And
Right.
she was often like left away from them. So she felt rejected by the people who were supposed to love her.
We'll only be gone for a few weeks.
You're not going, are you, Mummy?
Well, yes, I thought I might. It's a long time for your father and I to be apart.
But I should go too.
Darling, you've got school. You've only just settled in.
So I can also imagine that her obsession with Pauline wasn't just based in like, oh yeah, you're hot or whatever. It was also like, you don't
Yeah.
have to care about me and you do.
Right.
So like there's going to be a stronger like bond there,
Right.
and it's going to be something that like when her parents abandoned her because she had tuberculosis, the one person who saw her was Pauline, and like not like, yeah, like the whole thing, like I can imagine feeling like I can imagine feeling like it's a threat on your life or something.
What?
That is getting ripped away. Like, because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, it's not just access, but it's like love and acceptance and all this shit like that neither of them had before. And you're like, well, yeah, you guys just can't ever see each other again. Sorry. I just don't really understand it because you guys seem gay. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so fucking tragic. And I'm not saying like bashing your mom's head in 43 times is chill AF. But like, I can see it feeling
Well, that's
like.
also clearly a misplaced.
Yeah. But that's what I
target.
mean. I can see it feeling like life or death.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it not feeling, obviously it's not a rational thought.
Right.
And I'm not rationalizing the behavior, but I'm saying like I can see, especially when you take an imagination like theirs, and they have a completely different idea of like, they created their own religion, they created their own world, and like I was gonna say something. I don't remember. Oh, like in the Wikipedia article, it says like that Pauline's sister said that Pauline did seem to not realize what she'd done until like 5 years
Yeah,
later.
right.
It took her 5 years to even understand what had happened, essentially,
Right.
and like that she'd actually killed.
That
her
was
mom.
from a statement in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Or 96, so I guess that would have been
And she
probably
was like,
precipitated by the film.
this is what the fucking it's like it's
While she has never spoken to the press,
Yeah.
in a 1996 statement released through her sister, she expressed strong remorse for having killed her mother. Her sister further stated that, quote, Pauline committed the most terrible crime and has spent 40 years repaying it by keeping away from people and doing her own little thing. After it happened, she was very sorry about it. It took her about 5 years to realize what she had done.
yeah. And I can imagine that. I mean, also I'm like watching this and I'm like, so are they fucking autistic or
Yeah, right.
like, and I'm not saying, because they killed someone, but because like they don't fit in with society. They don't, they have this bond. They obviously have special interests, like severe special interests and social deficits. And they don't really care about being around other people. And afterwards, their life afterwards is like, Pauline like stayed away from people and wasn't around people. And Juliet became an author, and just published books. So it's like clearly like, I mean, it kind of sucks that Juliet got to do what they always wanted. Yeah. The one with money got to do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I misspoke. I said Seventh-day Adventist?
Church of Latter-day Saints. Yeah.
Mormon. Yeah. Even worse.
Ooh, Lordy. And it's so, there's so much. It's such, and I think one of the things with the movie that always like made me like, ooh, was that obviously I identified with them.
Yeah.
Because like they felt so rejected by society and they had this own world that they created in their head. And, it's always like, in a lot of times, like people like that in films and stories, it's like, and then they killed someone and then they fucking killed themselves. And then they were, a pariah in society
it's a little bit
forever.
tragic,
Yeah. Yeah, it is
way.
a little bit, but it's also a true story. So it's like,
Fair.
it wasn't,
Yeah.
I think like one of the things that Peter Jackson wanted to do was that he didn't want to make essentially a movie based on the crime. He didn't want to do like a procedural kind of film. He wanted to tell a story about their relationship, and he focused on them. And I think it would be nothing, and the
Oh, yeah, you can imagine that boring-ass film.
oh my right, it would just be like a regular movie, and it would just be like, okay, well, whatever. But like, he focused so much on their relationship, and like I can't imagine. Like I was watching it last night, and I'm like, there's so like Kate Winslet's eyes are like red the entire movie. Like half of the movie, she's just weeping, and like same with Melanie Lynskey. Like they just have like so much, like they're just crying all the time and just like hysterical so much of the time. And I'm like, how exhausting was doing this shit? Oh my God. And
they were actually like 16?
Yeah, they were very young. Did you read the thing Kate Winslet said about when they had to do
the camera guy or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hard on day on set or something like that.
Yeah, hard dick day.
Ugh. Gross.
Unsurprising.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's bad enough, but I'm like, they're so young.
Right.
Like, why? And like, I think something that always like kind of fascinated me when I was younger is that, who is it? Who's the guy that they say is ugly?
Orson Welles.
Yeah, Orson Welles. And she's like, he's so ugly. And that's who's chasing her and who she's imagining.
Yeah.
Like, screwing her.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was always like, that's so like bad. Like I was like, oh my God, that's so naughty.
Well, but it's also that she likes him, and then Juliet is like, no, he's hideous.
No, but Juliet's the one that was imagining him. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's like,
I see.
yeah.
It was the first time I had ever seen it. Deborah had always told me how hideous he was.
Is that you? You're through, Harry. Come out. You haven't got a chance this way. What do you want? You might as well give up.
It is appalling. He is dreadful. I have never in my life seen anything in the same category of hideousness, but I adore him.
I was like, oh. Because Pauline imagines Diello or whatever.
Yeah,
The baby.
that kills everybody.
That kills the baby that's an adult man that kills everyone.
Correct.
Love for no one else can end this yearning, this need that you and you alone.
Hey, isn't it that famous Irish singer, Murray O'Lanza?
He's Italian, Dad. The world's greatest tenor.
The great Irish singer Mari O'Lanza.
He's Italian.
It.
What? Oh, God. What was it that she says? Nina, whatever. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. Did it. You said it 5 million times.
I know.
You're nothing but a cheap little tart. Well, I guess I take after you then. You ran off with Dad when you're only 17. Nana Parker told me.
All the performances are pretty great.
Yeah.
That sounded sarcastic, probably, but
No, yeah, I mean,
I really
maybe.
appreciated the guy that plays Juliet's dad,
Yeah.
because he gets some moments.
I
Henry, played by Clive Merrison.
the claymation people were like
Woo.
insane, but I was like so impressed because like when they open their mouths, it's just
Solid.
solid. Oh shit, like
Yeah,
that.
when
And
there's
it
a sequence
doesn't
where
right.
it's Mario Alonso
Yeah.
singing or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah, but it's like what's interesting is it doesn't
works.
look like 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 it doesn't like fold or anything. It doesn't like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
stays. Yeah,
That's wild.
So fascinating, and it really does look like they're all like their fingers are so bulky and like
Yeah.
it does really look like poor.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, and again, that was like you were when we were done watching the movie because I was like, this movie's weird. Because I didn't know how to preface it. Like, it's a very weird movie in the sense of, like, it's a story about two teenage girls who create a alternate reality for
Yeah.
themselves and then kill one of their moms. Like, it's weird. And it's all true. And it, like, when the movie was over, Keith was like, it wasn't that weird. And I was like, okay, there was like scenes of like full on claymation people having an orgy, and he was like, "Oh, okay, well, okay." I was like, "Yeah, like that's a little weird." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." I was like, "I don't know how to describe that other than weird. I'm sorry." Like, and
I guess
yeah.
I always expect it to structural things. Like
Yeah.
it feels a pretty chronological narrative structure.
You're like, I don't
So-
know. This feels like a story someone would tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but yeah, it's like right. It's like
I've seen things you humans couldn't imagine.
I think what feels weird about it for me is that it is a true story and it is like everything is based on actual accounts and like even the like fictional things that are going on throughout it are based on things that they've written.
Yeah.
And the story, so it's all like factually based.
Right.
But like it has like these whole scenes of like being chased through the streets by Orson Welles
Right.
and like,
Who's in black and white.
Right. And claymation people murdering folks and shit
Yeah.
like that. So it's like obviously it's showing you their fantasies.
There's gonna be some early CG too, right? Some
Yeah,
of that
the
stuff?
butterfly shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, this
Right,
anytime
yeah.
he cut somebody in half.
Right. I
Which is
love
pretty
it.
impressive. It was Well done. Tastes tactfully done.
Yeah,
Because it
for
doesn't
sure.
stand out,
Right, yeah.
which is impressive on a
Yeah.
digital transfer, you know,
Yeah.
like at this point.
And like it's also like the fact that they would write all these stories and they would just tell everybody about them. They'd be
Yeah.
like, here's what's happening next. And people would be like, okay,
Sounds great.
okay, whatever. Ugh. It's like me if I never got bullied into shutting up about my special interest. That's,
Right.
or all the things that I was interested in. Like now people are like,
Yeah, just think. You could have murdered your mother.
I coulda. Yeah. I get so nervous that I haven't actually pushed record, even though I've already pressed pause and all that shit. I'm always like, ooh, I don't know.
Self-doubt is the mind killer.
But yeah, this was like the first thing I ever saw Melanie Lynskey in.
It's the first thing
I mean,
she's
it's
ever
the
been
first
in.
thing that she's been in, but I saw it when I
Yeah.
didn't see it when it came out, you know. And so I always knew who Melanie Lynskey was always like a very big deal to me, and I was always like Melanie Lynskey. It's so weird to me that she's married to John Ritter's son. Like every time I think of that, my head explodes a little bit.
I know.
I'm like, what?
What a waste.
My Melanie?
I know. Look at what she could have had.
It's like, no, it's more like, I'm like, but I know her. Like, no, I don't know her. Like, I've known her my whole life. And I've known him. And like, I knew his dad. Nope, that's
Yeah,
not.
right.
None of that's real. None of that's real.
I didn't know this because I've never really, I don't really know about Peter Jackson. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, I know his name. I've seen those Lord of the Ring movies.
Yeah.
But
Did you see any of the Hobbit films?
Sailor and I tried to go see the first one in IMAX, and it blew up.
broke.
And then it was like Christmas Eve or something, and then in San Francisco, and we stood in line longer for comp tickets than after they were like gave up than we did see of the movie. You know what I mean? Like we saw like 15 minutes of the movie and we stood in line for like 30.
Oh my God.
But by all accounts, bullet dodged.
Yeah. Did you go back to see it? You didn't,
No,
you
no.
ended up stepping out of line or did you get comp tickets? And
Yeah, we
just
got
not go?
comp tickets, but you know, like,
Just didn't go. Yeah.
yeah, I was, I was visiting. Oh my God, people doing their jobs out here.
No, I just don't know what's happening. It's Sunday.
I know, that's weird. They bringing out a leaf blower to
Right.
clear out the under the shelter every day
every d-
since the kids in the park event on Thursday or whenever.
It's like raining and everything. Y'all need to chill your shit.
I want to go on record as saying I feel like leaf blowers,
Are a menace to society.
given their crazy persistence in being used, one of the most ridiculous inventions.
Frankly, there
In the
should be a
present
leaf
day.
sucker, right? There should be one that sucks up leaves into a bag.
Or
I'm
a
you
shop
know?
vac.
Yeah, and that's it. But a leaf blower, you're just like, it's like imagine sweeping your house, just sweeping it into a different room. Like
It's like brushing water off the beach.
right. It's just coming back. It's like a tide. No, it's not even like doing that. It's like tide. Like it's just gonna come back. Like it's gonna go away and come back. Like you, honestly, if you wait long enough, those leaves
So
will
my
blow
analogy
themselves
holds.
away. No, I'm saying brushing the
Oh.
water is pointless because of the tide. Like if you just wait, the leaves will blow themselves away.
Okay, brushing sand off the beach. Anyway, I'm right. But, so yeah, and I was never into the Evil Dead ones because of the people who like.
Oh, he did Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. I've never seen Evil Dead.
I've never seen the whole thing.
Okay.
Either, any of them.
Okay.
But I was put off of those long ago because I knew in one of them there's like somebody gets raped by a tree.
That's the new one. That's the remake. I don't think he did that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did.
No. That was after Lord of the Rings. I don't think.
No. It's one of the original ones.
Really?
I've looked this up before. I remember.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
So.
And I haven't seen all the shit like for instance, Randall mentioned on our
Yeah, I haven't
First
seen
Power
any of
episode.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
I'm aware of them, just haven't seen them.
Right. Yeah.
Meet the Feebles and Bad Taste.
You have seen Frighteners, though.
Oh yeah, I always forget that's him. I like that. That's a good one. That's
I've seen this. This was probably my first like.
Peter Jackson.
This and Frighteners were like probably I saw them at around the same time, but I didn't know they were Peter Jackson. And then I saw the Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to be honest. Here. And the Lord of the Rings felt like a really big deal, and so I read the books before I went to see the movie.
Sucker.
And it wasn't until I finished watching the last movie that I was like, I don't like these movies, nor do I like these books. And I actually don't even enjoy fantasy. I don't enjoy that whole thing. I don't, you have a castle, you have a whole, like, I don't like the royalty shit. I don't like...
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't
my
like
main
Renaissance,
beef with it. Is it
anything? I don't like dragon shit, and I don't like any of it. Like Lord of the Rings, no. Game of Thrones, anything like that.
Since I don't know about Peter Jackson so much, I didn't realize that his partner they write everything together.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Fran Walsh.
Oh, they're partners.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's hot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
She co-wrote this and all the Lord of the Rings shit.
Wow.
Suck it, J.R.R. I mean, J.R. Wait.
J.R.R. Tolkien. No, J.R. Shit. J.R. Tolkien. Wait.
Right.
Oh my God. Because I know it's George R.R. Martin.
That's right. That's why I always get fucked up.
It's Tolkien, sir.
Oh
I love that fucking scene. Like, it's like he's overcoming some... It's Tolkien, sir.
I hope that movie bombed.
J.R.R. Tolkien, yeah. It's 2 R's.
Okay.
That's so fucking weird.
That's 100% why George did it.
It's Tolkien, sir. The kid in that is the son of the daughter of the doctor, who's married to the doctor.
My brain, what?
Georgia Moffat or whatever, who is the daughter of one of the OG doctors who married David Tennant. Her son is the one that's like, it's Tolkien, sir. You guys get it.
Fucking Cole Meany's in the Tolkien movie?
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Budget estimated $20 million, gross 4.
You know why?
Sorry, that's just U.S. Worldwide 9.
Because no one fucking gives a shit. No offense. They're like, people like Lord of the Rings. They're probably going to want to know about the fucking white guy that wrote about it. No one gives a shit.
Sorry to Finnish director Domek Kurakowski, because this is his first English language film.
Yeah, sorry.
English film. It's my first attempt at English language, so bear with me. Anyway, this movie rules. And you should definitely see it if you haven't. There's some list, the trivia lists, that this is on somebody's list of films you must see before you die or whatever.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I definitely think, and
I put this up there with Butcher Boy.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very
it's
similar.
a very,
in good ways where it's not
Yeah.
like, they're like siblings,
yeah.
not like they're biting each other. But
They're sisters, not twins. With eyebrows.
No. Oh. How would you rate the eyebrows in this film?
I think, okay, Kate Winslet's eyebrows were phenomenal. I was just struck by them immediately. She had like
Very not 90s.
Yeah, it was very like 1950s like model. Yeah, it was hot. I liked her eyebrows. And they styled them similar to her mother's, and I was like, "Ooh, this is good," because they were very but I was so struck by Kate Winslet's eyebrows, I didn't really pay attention to anyone else's. It kills me, Melanie Lynskey, the whole time being like,
I know.
This is why, like, this is one of the things that, like...
Did you see, she was scouted. Like, they found her in a high school. And she didn't audition.
Yeah. Kate
Winslet was cast first.
Kate Winslet was cast, and when she got the part, they showed her Kate Winslet's screener or whatever, screen test, and they said, "This is how good you have to be."
It's so fucked up. That's shitty.
I know. You gotta do this.
That offends my sensibilities.
But it's whatever.
But yeah, I mean, she did it.
I was gonna say, I mean, we now are gifted with Melanie Lynskey, so it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah.
I swear to God that there was something when we watched I'm a Cheerleader that they said they had seen Heavenly Creatures, and that's why they wanted her.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Cause it's a really good movie. Like, I was rewatching it. I was like a little bit worried that it was going to be like less gay than I remember, but it's actually a little more gay than I was like, ew. I was like, did I just conflate this? But then I forgot that I was a closeted, very stupid teenager.
True.
And, and I didn't get a lot of things that were subtle. And by subtle, I mean quite obvious to people. Like, I had to learn what subtle meant. I was like, so
homosexual. That scene on his mouth.
But also
that's some Cronenberg shit.
Also the scene where she's saying she was polite and like well mannered
and sweet,
or
whatever.
And the look at her face, just so pissed. It's so fucking funny to me.
I was picked up at 2 p.m. I have been very sweet and good. I have worked out a little more of our plan. Peculiarly enough, I have no qualms of conscience.
It's polite, well mannered.
Yeah, I thought the guy who played. I mean, I thought everyone was great.
Yes.
But I feel like the Mr. Holm.
Yeah.
Got some really great moments.
Yeah.
Like seeing him.
Yeah.
Cry in his chair or whatever.
Yeah.
And Pauline's mom.
Yeah.
Was good.
Yeah.
I feel like, she maybe didn't get the depth.
Yeah.
But.
Man, the scene, though, like, the scene where Pauline is, like, crying because she's like, I couldn't get my passport because I have to be 20. And she's just hysterical. And, like, Juliet's mom is, like, taking the phone away from her to hang it up because she's just crying. And then Pauline's mom comes over and she's like, don't be like this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, my God, you hate her so much in that moment because you're like, you're the one doing this. Right. Ah! And it's such a good scene because you in that moment, you're like, don't touch her. Don't get the fuck away from her. Like, she's just tormented. And you, like, understand because she's tormented because she's her mother and she hates seeing her like this. But, like, she thinks that her being around this person who she loves being around is unhealthy. So she won't do anything. Right. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, don't cry, Gina. Gina, please don't cry. We're not going to be separated. We're not. They can't They can't! They're not! Oh, please! I hate you!
Yvonne. Don't be like this, love.
Trigger warning for there is, the scene with the boarder who she has sex with.
Yeah.
That the consent is not.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
We later get her diary entry about how,
Yeah.
she was kind of into it or whatever. And then she goes to his place after he gets kicked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so trigger warning just for how it's
Yeah.
shown.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but
Yeah.
why did I bring that up? Oh, and you see, and it's totally predictable. I mean, not in a bad way. I mean, socially predictable that she gets blamed.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets kicked out of the house.
Right, but she,
but her mom just lays into her about.
Yeah. Right. You're just like, oh my God.
You're 14. Exactly. Like,
right.
What?
And like that whole thing of like, when I was younger, when I was 14, I also had when I was 14, I had the body of an 8-year-old. So,
Hot.
So, I didn't really,
Now
I
you
was
have
like,
the body of a 14-year-old. Hubba hubba.
It's true.
Sorry, I gotta go wash my mouth out with bleach.
Piss. Oh.
Piss. You are so filthy.
Thank you so much. I'm filthy. Mm-hmm. Girl. I can't wait till you just bleep all of that out.
I can wait.
But yeah, like watching it and just being like, seeing how, like watching it now as the perspective of someone who's probably around the age of her mother.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, and having this child who is like just being so angry at them for this. It's so like it's so unbelievable. And I'm like, I would never respond that way. I would never react that way. Like, I would never do that in that way because it's so pointless to be so vitriolic towards your kid. That's just...
Yeah, but, you know, the thing is, they thought they were...
Sorry.
doing what's best for their kid.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was the mindset.
That's the terrifying shit for me always with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't grow up with dissimilar shit. You know,
Right.
It's just like thinking about it. I mean, obviously I don't have kids, so fucking who knows. But like...
You're welcome, society.
Yeah, but the idea of like having a kid and just being so fucking mean to them is like, I'm just like, why? Why would you... I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a different time. It's a different whatever. I'm a fucking homosexual, whatever. I'm a deviant myself. So, you know, I have like more, you know...
Skin in the game?
Yeah, I care more, you know, but it's just like, it's so wild to think of like your kid, feeling like your kid is going down a path and being like, you know what you need? Fucking fire and brimstone. Like, why? Who the fuck thinks that's ever going to work? Like, what dumb idiot thinks that that's going to work? Like, what a fucking...
Lots of people.
I know.
Hundreds of years.
My parents.
And a lot of people into the... I mean, you know, unsurprisingly, if you've listened to me do anything...
Yeah.
The more and more I'm like, if you were raised with any kind of Christianity, that's emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
But literally, I mean, Christianity is emotional abuse. Like, it's just like, even as an adult, like, it's just, you're putting yourself through
Yeah.
emotional abuse.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you choose
Internalized.
that path, you're like, you know what? I like being manipulated. Like, I enjoy having things held over my head, you know?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Also, a shout out to Christchurch, New Zealand, for being famous outside of New Zealand for, or this murder and the right-wing terrorist attacks on mosques in 2019.
Doing it right, Christchurch.
Yeah,
You're
very American.
named after Jesus.
Very American.
So you're named after Jesus, Jesus Church. So yeah, it makes sense that you would have. But yeah, I don't think I realized that it was set in New Zealand necessarily because it looks nice.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's so nice.
Yeah, New Zealand
like,
is
oh.
gorgeous. Except for
I really like the beginning.
Lord.
Yeah, I really like the whole like the footage at the beginning.
Oh God, that's so great.
Yeah,
And I wonder, it's one of those where
yeah. You want to?
you don't know if it's
oh yeah,
stock
right.
or he created it or whatever.
I'm sure it's stock because it looks way too old and the footage is.
Well, yeah, probably the narration was new, right, or something like that.
Oh,
Huh?
I don't know. Oh, is what I said. IMDb will probably tell you.
I'm sure it's going to be disappointing because it's Jane Campion. Was it not her? Oh, okay, that's writer.
But
What?
I don't know. I'm laughing because you're like, it's gonna be disappointing because it's James Campion.
Well, I want to rewatch this film that I caught. There it is, Angel at My Table. Okay, so for a minute, I had my own studio apartment in Riverside, California, which came with free basic cable.
Okay.
And my brother lent me their tiny TV that they kept in their RV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I could have TV. And I had free Bravo. Bravo.
Free Rob Row.
And I caught this part of this film on Bravo in the late 90s, Angel at My Table.
Okay.
And it is based on a real person. Jane Frame was a brilliant child who, as a teen, was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia. And it's about her. Janet Frame grows up in a poor family with lots of brothers and sisters. Already at an early age, she is different from all the kids. She gets an education, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she's a writer in New Zealand and gets institutionalized.
Oh.
Anyway. It was...
Who's in it?
Some Kiwis.
Okay.
Carrie Fox plays the title, the main character.
Okay.
Alexia Kogue plays the young version.
Okay.
Sam Neill's not in it, so
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
either is Rhys Darby or Jermaine Clement.
All
or,
the famous, all
Brit.
Kiwis.
Taika Waititi.
Would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I already have. I'll do it again. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree with the idea that it's like similar sort of to Butcher Boy, like not necessarily in the content, but in like the unconventional love story kind of aspect, like because he loves his friend and that. Yeah, like there's a lot
and
of
the fantasy world of the child,
right, based in religion.
Well, that too. Yeah.
I mean, the fantasy itself is based in religion,
right?
So. Yeah. It's around the same time.
Yeah, right. Well, this is a little bit earlier, right? Because I want to say Butcher Boy was early 60s, right?
don't remember. I thought it was the 50s. But whatever. Either way. But yeah, like I think it was like
Swoon is the movie based on Leopold and Loeb.
okay.
That I've been aware of since its release, but hard to come by. 1992.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
sorry.
It's okay.
I thought of that one. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Swoon. I just remember seeing like trailers for it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Leopold and Loeb probably are more familiar to U.S. citizens, especially from Illinois because they were in Chicago, I guess, in the 20s.
Oh, shit.
They were affluent young white men who decided that they were super geniuses. And
became serial killers.
Actually, one of them was a fan of Nietzsche, so he thought he was an Ubermensch.
Oh, shit.
And that the normal rules of society didn't apply to them, so they started doing crimes, and they eventually were like, oh, we can plan the perfect murder and get away with it because we're so
Smart, yeah.
ultra genius. Yeah. And they did not. And they were possibly lovers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
But-
an interesting what?
Less interesting than this story because they're rich white men.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting sort of thing that this and Butcher Boy. I feel like a lot of movies sort of set in this time period when people were like just getting televisions, just like seeing movies, just being introduced to like movie stars as like a more popular sort of thing, not just like, you know, it being introduced where like not gossip magazines, but sort of like, you know, like that was starting to, you know, come into the, you know, zeitgeist.
Celebrity.
And so I feel like a big, I mean, I should probably read about it, but like like it seems like an uptick in like just absolute fantastical ideas of possibilities started coming up for people. And like, I think, you know, I think that there's like definitely something, again, like, I don't know if anyone, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I feel like there's definitely a connection with people in poverty having big dreams.
Yep.
And ending up doing something criminal. Because you
will also see fucking To Die For.
Right. Like, because you're fed this idea that people in the movies, like, it's easy to get away with things. You're not really told this idea of reality when you don't have a structured sort of life and you're thrown to the wolves. You don't really have a great sense of what's actually possible and what's not. And so, especially when you're given this window into a different world, into different possibilities, and you're fed the idea, like a lot of people who become, especially like back in the day, like not so much anymore, I feel like, but especially like, you know, I think in the last like 20 years, it started to become like vastly more nepotism. You know, like 20 to 30 years, it's like nepotism has taken over Hollywood in a lot of ways. Not saying it didn't exist before then, but in a lot of
it's
ways,
a little bit the age of the industry, right? Like,
right.
That it's only now,
right. But like before, like you could, you know, it's become, because that's the way that the entirety of America, especially, has become that way. Where, like, I even watched I even saw this thing where, like some actors in like Britain or the UK or whatever were discussing how before, like, acting was something that people from like middle class backgrounds or like lower class backgrounds could try to achieve through, you know, and now it's nearly impossible. Like that pipeline that used to happen.
I only just saw this past week fucking Jamie Lee Curtis's
it's just
denial of
girl, stop. Like that's she's great, but that I'm like, girl, you don't need to have just shush. It's just mean, girl. I was talking about like nepotism. I feel like the fact that
Oh, right.
like I think that this is a thing that it's a I mean I do feel like it's part of capitalism, but I definitely feel like it's something that is repeated continuously where people in poverty or people that don't really have access to a lot of things will find a loophole. Like when MySpace, like, you know,
Yeah, right.
Adele, who's super famous, was discovered because she put her own music on MySpace. And that's how she was discovered, like, quote unquote, or whatever. So, and she, you know, and so people started putting their music on MySpace and it started, and people started getting like more deals. People were getting like, people got like, a lot of celebrity because of MySpace, and then it tanked, and then like MySpace went away, and then like people, you know, it's the same thing with everything. Like people start. Are you okay? What are you looking at? What?
Nothing. Day of the Locust.
Is
Sorry.
it a movie?
Yeah, I think it was made in a film.
It was made in a film?
Made into a film.
Oh, okay.
Based on a book.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm done.
No, I don't care that you're looking it up. I just didn't know if it was something that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I thought of it because it's set in Hollywood. It's kind of a, I don't know. There's the main character and its name is Homer Simpson.
Oh.
And it's set in Hollywood, and it's kind of, I've actually read it.
Oh, okay.
That's a brag because I
Don't read.
haven't read in a long time.
Yeah.
I think I read it before I moved here, but it's not very long.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little bit of a fucking Catcher in the Rye feel to me, because it's kind of this. He's kind of a bumpkin who's moved to. I don't know. I don't remember why he's in Hollywood, but like, you know, he gets used by this actress or this woman who's trying to become a star a little bit, and it just, the climax of it is really wild. It basically ends up that they get caught up in basically a riot.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought of it because of what we were talking about, and I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not upset. I just wasn't sure if you had something you wanted to bring up. That's all.
I was looking at it. I got hung up because I was remembering it as Night of the Locust.
Oh, I see.
And I was not yielding any. So anyway.
Okay. No, I was just saying, like, I was just saying that there's, like, always sort of, like, you know, like Instagram started getting people that were really famous, and Twitter and things like that.
Right.
And so they start implementing things like shadow banning, and then it's like, oh, you can't really, we're gonna start doing ads where if you want people to see your content, you have to make an ad for it, you know, so that people don't get spammed with content. And so it's stuff like that where it's just like, you are rewarded only when you have money. You're rewarded only when you come from, you know, so it's like you have to already have a leg in the door. You have to already be making money. You have to already be, you know, famous or have money or have, you know, connections or something like
Access.
that. Right. You have to have access to something. And so it's like, you know, I feel like there's like always this sort of, I mean, you know, YouTube used to be the same way where people were getting absolutely famous off of YouTube just because they were posting content and now it's like, again, you're throttled if you post too much. Your things are taken away from you if you post too much, because nobody needs to see you unless you're already famous. Nobody needs to see you unless you already have fans. And so it's, again, it's like, if you have access to something, if you have, you know, and like a lot of people, you know, like I connect it back to like this, not necessarily this specific film, but this idea of like, of hope of getting out of a situation of that being torn from you because you're poor, because you don't have things, you're going to, and this is like a common thread in poverty situations, when you're told you have no options, there is no way for you to get out, and there's no hope for you, why wouldn't you commit crime?
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't you revert? No.
Resort.
Resort? Is that
To?
what it is? Yeah, resort. Is that what I said in the first place?
No, you said revert.
I did. Okay. Resort to, committing crimes. Why wouldn't you resort to trying to get something? And people will be like, oh, it's the easy way. No, it's just it's so hard.
Look.
It can be so difficult to live life that you're not able to even do it. Like something being easy doesn't mean something being easier doesn't mean that it's actually easy. Like, committing a crime isn't easy to do. That's a difficult task, and it takes a lot of also,
what's
lack
the
of
reward?
Fear. Yeah, and ending up, getting caught is usually what happens to people.
Right.
But like when you're put in a situation where it's like your whole world is going to be ripped away from you, when you have, this isn't an argument of like people shouldn't be allowed to fantasize or given an option of something else, but it's saying that like, the idea that like anything is possible, you're supposed to believe in that. But then when you try to achieve it, it's like, oh, no, you misunderstood. That wasn't for you.
Correct.
But you said it was for anyone. Right. But you were supposed to know it wasn't for you. Like, that harms people. Like, that sort of like, you can do anything if you really want to. Like, what it ends up doing is like, you're fed this idea. It's social media. It's always been social media. Like, even back then, it's like these magazines that were like giving you a peek into actors' lives and what they were interested in. It let you feel like you were getting to know them. And like, there's a scene where they're like, I know that he would like, I can't remember who they're talking about meeting. I can't remember which specific, like maybe Mario. I don't know. I don't remember which person. I think it might be an actor. I'm not sure. And they're like, I know he'd love us if he met us or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, that is like such a common thing for people. Like, oh, of course we'd be friends. Of course we'd get along. Because you're given this peek into this life that is so much better than yours. And it's so much nicer. And, all you really need to do to deserve it is be a good person. And people will flock to you. People will come to you, and then you do it, and it's not happening. So then you're like, what do I have to do? And then they're like, well, it's because you don't have the right lips, so you should probably get lip injections. And it's because you don't have the right body, so you should probably go to the gym. And then they sell you things, and it's such a fucked up thing that like, and you could be like, how is this connecting to heavenly creatures? And it's like, because that's the whole idea is that all they were trying to do is have a life where they were allowed to like literally write books together. Yeah. And it was like, that's too close to just being gay. So you can't do it. So you shouldn't have access to it.
Well, what's the problem with being gay?
Well, yes, correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
yes, of course, that's ultimately it. But it's like, it's
the same kind of threat.
Yeah. Yes.
To the social order.
But it connects back to rainbow capitalism. It's like, we don't, fucking 11 months of the year, we don't give a shit about you. But for June of the year, we will try to sell you things that are extra gay.
Well, and we're also seeing like that's what Juneteenth is becoming.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's like it does all connect to this idea of like, you're supposed to stay where you are and you're supposed to be very good and you're not supposed to step out of that. And like, if a person is able to get out of that, then they find a way to turn that into a thing like, don't you wish you could be like this? And we're going to capitalize on that. And they, so it's like, it's so
perseverance porn. Yeah. Respectability politics.
And again, it's like, what does this have to do with the story of this movie? The fact that literally all they were trying to do is write books and be gay. Yeah. Be gay and do crime.
Exactly.
And
what's wrong with that?
But like they were having their lives torn apart and their parents were just like, you're supposed to be normal.
Right.
and you're not being normal. So we don't want, and I understand it's more complicated than that.
Sure.
But like, I feel like that, you know, I feel like it's similar to like Butcher Boy and all these things where they were being shown America, or they were being shown, you know, these television shows, and it was showing you like all of these things. You were connecting in a way that you never had to, and it opens up ideas. It opens up any type of like new technology or new way of thinking about things, new way of creating. It's going to open up your mind to new possibilities, and then you're punished for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrifying. And you know, and I feel like that's like a common theme in a lot of stories that are around this time, is like people had this idea, you know, the fact that like if they had been like institutionalized, they would have been lobotomized because I mean, yes, I know that they killed someone, but they killed someone because all they were trying to do was write books together and like write books together. And like, I mean, yes, they were obsessive and very immersed in each other, and it might not have been the healthiest thing, but to treat it like it was like it seemed like homosexuality was what they were blaming all of it on, and not homosexuality being like sort of an afterthought of the fact that, you know, like I was saying before, like the underlying thing is essentially that they both were being rejected. Like Juliet's parents didn't care about her, and then she had this friend who shared like a disability. Right. You know, they were both disabled. They were both ostracized, and her family didn't care about her. And then she had this person come into her life that shared her interests and cared about her. And then Pauline had someone, again, who shared her interests and cared about her and was giving her a way to a life that wasn't hers. She had a way out. She had a way that she wasn't going to necessarily be stuck. And, you know, the part where her mom is like, you think you're going to get anywhere in your books? You think that anyone's going to, you know, you think that people are going to care about this? And like, it's so cruel. But like, that's how you're treated when you grow up poor, is that people are like, you're dreaming, that needs to stop because you're poor and you can't do that. And so it, you know, there had to have been hostility that was just being like, there had to have been like hostile feelings towards these people. And it makes sense to me, not that they violently killed her mom, but it makes sense that they would view these people as a threat, you know, and be terrified and not know how to respond.
Well, there's also the psychological aspect of, I mean, you see, I feel like this is more popular. Well, I don't need to say that. Whatever. If you're just continuing a cycle, it's what you were told growing up. Like, don't shoot for the stars. You're only going to get hurt. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be taken advantage of. Right. Just stay in your lane. Yeah. And you'll be fine. Yeah. You know, you won't be famous. You won't be rich, but you'll do fine. Yeah. Right. You just head down. Yeah. And so, you know, I think culturally we think we're past this, but you see it repeated all the time. People do this shit to their kids constantly, or they do the inverse, which we're familiar with, where a parent will put all their, project all their hopes and dreams onto their child.
Right. I didn't get any encouragement as a kid, so I'm going to only tell you that you can do whatever you want, but I'm not ever going to tell you how to achieve anything, because I don't know actually how to do that. Right. I never learned how to do that, so I can't teach you how to do that, but I'm going to tell you that literally anything's possible, because that's what I believe, even though I've never been able to attain it myself. Right. And I do want to say, like, I think, you know, I'm saying like these people were a threat to Pauline and Juliet, but because those people viewed Pauline and Juliet as a threat themselves. Right. And like, that's a lot of times what different people, and what, you know, it's what trans people are viewed as right now, is like a threat, a difference, you know, and it's like nothing is happening. Nothing is going on.
It's so manufactured.
Yes.
Nobody gave a shit.
Correct. Yeah. Right.
10 years ago.
Right. And the fact that like they didn't really care until they were like, oh, you might be gay. So it's like, you know, the idea that they're like, oh, they're obsessive and, you know, we don't understand their friendship or whatever. and they're like, oh, but it's because they might be gay. That's where we need to draw the line. And it's like the amount of like hatred that goes into like a difference of lifestyle is so like unfounded and so like like you said, manufactured. It's just like we could anyway. I think we're getting in there.
Yeah.
We're getting in there. So I just want to say, what is your pick for the like how like
let's see, what did we start with?
we started with
Priscilla.
Priscilla, yeah, I honestly forgot.
Priscilla,
Desert Hearts, Idaho,
and this.
and this.
This one I think is my favorite film overall.
Yeah, same.
Desert Hearts,
Yeah,
biggest underdog.
yeah. That one stole the show for me.
That one I think is probably best gay story.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like,
Yes. It's not tragic gay. It's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not veiled.
Yeah.
It's actually about two women.
Yep.
Doing each other.
Yep.
And sure, one of them was out and the other one wasn't. I mean, quote, soft out.
Yeah, right. A soft launch.
What do they call it? There's a term for it's when you. I remember hearing a piece on NPR 15 years ago. Someone had written a book about this concept, I think. But it was like, specifically, they were looking at FDR, who was in a wheelchair for a lot of his presidency. He's the last person to serve more than 2 terms. He had polio.
Yeah.
And he didn't pass.
Right.
It was kind of just like a known, open secret kind of thing.
Yeah,
I forget the term for it. Anyway, so whatever. But yeah, Desert Hearts.
Right.
And purposely, Donna Deitch, writer, director, talked about she purposely wanted to make a film that was about lesbians that didn't have a tragic ending. Didn't end in her words, either a bisexual triangle or a suicide.
Yeah, right.
And she did it, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
And great performances, and
yeah,
that one, biggest surprise.
Same. I agree with you. I'm with you 100% on this one.
And like we both have said already many times that like how did we never hear of it?
Exactly. Yeah, that was the main thing. Like watching it and recording, I was like, where has this movie been? Like, how did I?
And both that and Heavenly Creatures, I'm excited by how. I mean, Heavenly Creatures, didn't feel titillating.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like male gazy.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Especially because it was,
despite that, whatever douchebag Kate Winslet
This is something that I feel like I've not adamantly, but I feel I'm not saying this is a surefire way. And obviously this is a little bit, you could say it doesn't count because he did co-write it. But I'm always like, if something is like, it's usually got something to it. Like if it's written by a woman and directed by a man, or vice versa, written by a man and directed by a woman, it's usually a very interesting combination that happens because it won't it'll be shot in a way, but like it's not like it won't be written in a way that's male gazy. So it's really hard to shoot it in a way that's that way.
Right.
Like you can try, but it's not necessarily, and it doesn't count if it's like it's adapted from a book but still written by a man. It's always like if a woman is involved in writing it and a man shoots it, it's gonna feel different than if a man writes it and directs it. I feel like women, I don't see a lot of women doing the writing and directing, so I don't have as men, so I don't have as much experience in comparison. So I'm only not including that because I don't have but usually when I'm like, wow, this was like when something's like talking about assault or it's talking about, and it's like written by a dude, I'm like, what? It's be like directed by a woman. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. This is interesting. Yeah. Or like vice versa. I'm like, oh, okay. Like it always adds some sort of.
what we watched, and I was like, oh, go figure. This was it wasn't until after we watched it that I was like, oh, go figure. It was written by a woman. I can't remember.
Was it Desert Hearts? Because it was written and directed by.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't recent. It was like
okay.
a couple seasons, like last season or season before.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna remember.
I know.
But yeah, it definitely doesn't have. I feel like, I mean, I think I credit it to like Peter Jackson wanting to tell the story of the two girls and not wanting to sensationalize the crime. Also, he said in the love scenes, because it was very like there is so much speculation as to whether or not they actually were lesbians. He gave the direction for them to act like you're making love to your best friend, imagining like the person that you want to be with or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's such an interesting idea of like, he's not telling them who to imagine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but he's also not saying like, you're not really having sex.
Right.
Like, he's like, it's not like, it, you know, so it's like, it's a little bit of like having it, you know, like it's so, it did really feel ambiguous in a lot of ways, but even though you knew what they were doing, it was still ambiguously done to where, and so I think it's a very interesting sort of combination of even though it was directed by a man, like you said, like the concentration is so much on how much they love each other and not, and even like everyone that was cast specifically to on how they looked, like compared to their real counterparts. And like, that's another thing that like you're not necessarily going to find in like a traditional male director kind of thing. So it's super fascinating. Right. So, you know, I'm really interested in Peter Jackson's work pre-LOTR. No offense.
Yeah, apparently it's just those other two, and Frighteners. I didn't realize Frighteners happened before.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
he's got one called Forgotten Silver, which I was reading about. That was his next film after Heavenly Creatures. That I can't tell if it's like a mockumentary or not, but it's presumably about this forgotten New Zealand filmmaker who did all these innovations, but like nobody knows about because of bad luck.
About a year ago, I had a call from my mother. She said I should drop in on Auntie Hannah sometime because she was wondering if I'd be interested in a lot of old films that she had stored in a shed at the bottom of her garden. I'm curious to watch it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell from how it's written, the descriptions were written, if it's if that's a real person. Because Peter Jackson is a character in it. It's a documentary style, at least.
Interesting. Yeah.
Presumably he discovers that his neighbor is the widow of this guy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. Seems a little. I mean, in New Zealand.
That makes it seem like it's pretty small.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment though, because this week has been really, we had some really rough moments this week, and I want to be serious and take some time in this episode to talk about, or to dedicate this episode to the passing of RARBG.
Oh.
It was a blow. .to. It was a blow, and we're still reeling from it. And I don't quite know how we're gonna recover. I don't really know.
So it's hard to tell if you're joking. It's a little bit serious because boy did we rely on it.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm being a little facetious, but we both did need like time to recover after.
It was very sudden.
Yeah, you sent me a screenshot, and I literally went.
Yeah.
And that means I put my hand on my mouth.
So we'll see. We're
Olivia Benson. Yeah, we're. If you have any leads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Love will find a way. But I didn't really talk. I meant to say more about the other two films.
Yeah.
My Own Private Idaho, was also a lot different than I remembered it.
Same, yeah. Like I said, I realized that I had seen after they get to Italy, but I was like, I don't know how much I've seen before then. So I was like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's a curious movie.
It is. I think it's really interesting. I'm interested to actually like go in and take screenshots and it's going to be an interesting one. And Keanu Reeves is in it, so
yeah, it's got some things going for it.
We love a Keanu.
I think the best. I think I said this on the episode, but like it feels more impressionistic. Like
yes, yeah,
it's
yes,
vibes.
The love scenes and Udo Kier and all these things in it that are so it's very interesting.
And Priscilla's nice. And shockingly, I had seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that was the only one. Like
it was the opposite. I was like,
exactly.
I've seen my own Private Idaho. I'm like, maybe I haven't seen all of it. And you're like, I have not seen all of Priscilla.
I think I like Priscilla more than Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah, I definitely like.
I like the message of family.
Yeah. Yes.
That
being specifically. Also, I like how it's like, it's an interesting thing because it's like it's both chosen and real family, but like the real family comes from your chosen family sort of thing. Right. Because like he and his ex-wife, they're still friends, and there's not.
I love that relationship.
Yes, same. And they're both like very much. They very much love each other. They have no issue with being queer or anything like that. And, they have a kid together, and the kid's accepting of him and him being gay and his mom being whatever she is. And like, his dad being a drag queen, he doesn't care. And so it's like, it's being like, I think like you said, the message being family, but it's also like your chosen family becomes your real family.
Yeah.
I said that so well. Your chosen family, they're real far.
What do you mean?
I know. When you said,
all right, man, over the good times.
I replay that so many times.
Asshole.
Because the drugs never work, they gonna give you a smirk. Cause they got methods of keeping you clean. They gonna rip up your heads, your aspirations to shreds. Another cog in the murder machine. They said I'm teenage and scared the living shit out of me. They could care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes, I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe to leave you alone, but not me. The boys and girls in the clique, the awful names at the stick. You're never gonna fit in much, kid. But if you're troubled and hurt, what you got under your shirt will make them pay for the things that they did. They said, I'm teenage and scared the living shit out of me. They can care less as long as someone will bleed. So darken your clothes, I'll strike a violent pose. Maybe to leave you alone, but not me. Oh, yeah.
Bear with me.